Oh, it's the Rona.
Excellent. All right, let me invite some people.
Invite every single person that voted for Venomized X-Man, because I want to make sure that every person that forced me to draw a Venom or a Gambit is watching this. Not gonna lie to you, I was really kind of looking forward to Deathlock.
I know. I thought that was a good one. I thought that was.
Yeah, I thought that wasn't happening. That's why I did the one I showed you. All right, Brian. All right.
What am I looking for here? Oh, Dre Studios is live now. The legend continues. Join Michael Munshaw.
Say something or no?
We're live, so.
Hi, everybody. How's everyone doing?
Oh, let me turn this down.
We're gonna get an echo.
No echo now. Hey, there's nobody watching though.
No, okay, give it a minute.
Oh, we got one.
That's you.
Oh no, that's Andre.
Oh, I'm watching you, watching me, watching you.
Private eyes are watching you.
So I'm trying. This is the kind of comic boards you were talking about, right? The ones that are wide on both sides.
Yeah. The backing boards.
Yeah, the backing boards. So I'm
And
trying. I found one somewhere. So
one's one's not glossy. The other one's a little more.
So I'm using the non-glossy side, right?
Right.
Okay. I think Tommy's here.
Yeah, Tomas.
Yeah, like clockwork.
I do want to wish you a happy belated Canada Day.
Oh yeah, agreed.
Oh, thank you. It means so much.
Yeah, it's happy Canada Day.
Canada, yeah. I did nothing on Wednesday. I woke up, I took out the trash, made some breakfast, watched half an episode of Lucifer, went back to sleep. Woke up at like 3, barbecued, didn't eat, went back to sleep, and woke up at 7.
See, now that I'm not gonna lie to you, that sounds not. That doesn't sound very Canadian. That sounds an awful lot like America.
Well, hold on a second. Michael's already started. He's like half done.
Oh, I thought we were live when we were supposed to start. No, I don't.
No.
No, you can march to the beat of your own drummer, there, buddy. Nobody's stopping you.
All right, I'm putting my.
So yeah, I'm sure.
We haven't said what we're doing yet.
Exactly. Go ahead. Explain what's going on here.
Yeah, since it's your fault, anyways, Mike.
I'm sorry. What was that, Jay?
I said because it's your fault, anyways.
It's not my fault. It's Facebook's fault. Every poll I have seen on Facebook has an add-in option. I've seen polls on other Facebook pages where it's been a yes or no question, and still at the bottom it says add option. So I'm not taking full blame for this. But anyway, so when we did this the last time, there was the 3 of us, and some of the comments that were coming up from the people that were watching were that they would be interested in seeing the 3 of us tackle the same character and to see how that would come out. So the 3 of us had gotten together about a week or so before we came up with this date to do this now. And we came up with what we thought were 3 very strong contenders to be won by the 3 of us. So we put out the poll on the Facebook page for the Marvel card collectors. I was very confident that Deathlock would probably be the one chosen by everyone. But instead, thank you to Facebook, they had to add the option. And so then, of course, everyone went crazy with adding options. So this is where we find us now, that we will now be drawing a Venomized X-Men. And since Gambit was the 2nd highest pick added by the people that were participating in the poll, we're going to do a Venomized Gambit.
I would like to add that the people that polled for the Venomized X-Man and Gambit numbered to 21 last I saw, and I see 2 people currently watching this video.
Well, I only hope that they will go back to Dre's Facebook page after this, and they will watch it beginning to end at their leisure during this American
No. I had to get up out of bed. Everybody else has to get up out of bed for this.
So this was a chore getting up by noon for you to be able to do this?
Well, first of all, I'm in a different time zone.
By
So
1 hour.
11 a.m. He's an hour behind.
1 whole hour. Okay, so 11.
Yeah.
11 is a chore?
Well, I'll be honest with you. As of late, I just finished up a project. You know what? I'm a bit of a night owl, and I haven't gotten back on schedule.
No.
Actually, like for this last project that I was working on, I was up until like 4 a.m. like every night.
Oh, all right.
So, because with the Rona and the down and everything else, I'm usually like at home working by myself, but it's summertime in the middle of the Rona, so I'm surrounded by my family constantly, all the time.
That sounds like that would be amazing.
It would be if you weren't trying to get shit done.
I'm sure they're there just to help you. That they come and ask if you need something to drink, or if they bring you a snack, or if they need to change some music for you, or something like that.
Hey, Scarlett. My daughter usually comes in to show me a TikTok video that she thinks is funny. And then my wife just comes up with generally a new project for me to do.
This chorus.
Yeah, no, but bang through that project and good to go. So,
well, I think I speak for everyone who's not here when they say thank you so much for making the sacrifice of getting up early and to join Andre and I in this gathering.
That's not the sacrifice. The sacrifice is drawing a Venomized Gambit.
Well, we haven't gotten into that yet. I'm taking baby steps with you right now. We're just going baby steps.
I'm taking baby steps too. Put a little whiskey in my coffee.
Way ahead of you.
Happy 4th of July.
Hey, maybe it's not in my coffee. Maybe I'm just going straight up and then chasing it with coffee.
There you go. Okay, so I know you cheated and you already mapped this out in your head, but
who, me? No,
yeah,
no, actually, because you guys went and called me out on that, I threw that idea out the window.
See, but nobody knows that. It was only the 3 of us that knew that, and now you just told everybody.
You guys were giving me grief, so now I'm just like gonna wing it.
All right.
Let's
But
make some
I will
magic.
explain what my idea was. Because
All right,
some
go ahead.
is gonna say, "Oh, that's a great idea. You should have done that," and I'm just gonna deny you. What I was gonna do is just a recreation of Juco's 92 masterpieces Gambit card, but Venomized, which actually would have been pretty cool. But you guys called me out on it for cheating, so I'm not doing it.
Well, far be it from us to stomp on your artistic freedom and your artistic endeavors.
And you're right. I was gonna just paint myself into a corner there. I was counting my own hands.
This one?
So
All right, I think I'm warmed up. I got, I already got done with my morning routine, and I got a little bit of scotch in me.
Good. All right. So we also agreed that we're only using pencil crayons, right?
we did?
No.
Oh, all right. Thank you.
No, it was ballpoint pen.
Ballpoint pen. Okay. And how much time do we have?
Cross hatching like Frank Cho does on his ballpoint pen figures.
All right, you can get that done in 12 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Are we trying to get this done
crossed
within an hour?
Jeff Darrow.
Oh, I don't know if there's a time limit on this, Andre, that we have to get it done in an hour.
I don't know. Is anybody on the clock? I know, Mike, you said that you've got the entire day booked.
Yeah,
and,
unlike somebody who was sleeping until 11 o'clock this morning, I got up and I've been working on.
The girls went shopping, so I should be good until whenever.
But yeah, I've been working for a couple hours now.
Wow, that's
Hey, is my video all messed up?
Yep, sure is.
Excellent. Let me. I'll hop right back.
It kind of looks like we're looking through shutters or.
Yeah.
Of course, he's going to leave and it's going to shut everything down.
No. I'm just gonna hang on.
Oh.
You guys talk amongst yourself. Let me figure this out.
So are we starting?
I don't know.
I'm sorry. We gotta give him something to look at.
Yeah. I mean, we've been yapping quite a bit. I'm. Who's Gambit?
He's a secondary X-Man, I guess.
Yeah, some people would say secondary. I don't, dude. I'll tell you what. Gambit to me is like he's the equivalent of. He's like Marvel's Nightwing.
Nightwing?
Yeah.
How's that?
Because nobody gives a shit.
Oh, I was going to ask, does he have like a Batman figure in his life or something like that?
No. It's just he's like, there's like he's got like a huge following and nobody can figure out why. Kind of a thing, and it's just like, just being kind of that second tier, third tier type character. And I'm not bashing on Gambit in any way, shape.
You are.
Personally, never got into him, and it was funny. I was talking to Sean Forney about this. The reason that I never got into like Gambit and Rogue is probably precisely the reason everybody else did get into Gambit and Rogue. And it was the damn 90s cartoon.
Oh, yeah.
And the reason is, and unfortunately, you probably sympathize with me in terms of what our age might have been that show came out. We were I just had a problem with the voice acting. They had like the worst, like it was like the cheesiest copies of their accents.
Yeah.
It's like wrote, I mean, it just seemed forced to me. So I don't know. I couldn't, I just couldn't get on board with those two characters just because the voice acting was so bad.
She spoiled much?
No, it was just, I don't know, man. I mean, it's like, it was funny. I was talking to, when I was, talking to Sean about this, he was like, oh yeah, I was like in the 4th grade.
Oh my goodness.
Cartoon was awesome. I was like, dude, I was in the military.
I was going to say, I couldn't even watch it half the time because the boys wanted to watch Little Bear or Arthur or something else on PBS. So that they're like, no, you can't watch that.
Dude, see, now that right there would be torture, though. I can't suffer through the X-Men cartoon. I got to watch Caillou.
Yep, exactly. That's the things you do as a father. You know that.
Yeah, I know. The freaking Caillou, man. God, whoever, and look, I know whoever it is a fellow Canadian, Andre, but if I come across whoever came up with Caillou, I'm going to...
I don't think it's Canadian. I think it's French.
French-Canadian.
Is it?
I think so. No, it's all it's in Quebec, I think.
Oh,
But yeah, no, I will actually murder that person. Not sadly that now this video is going to be banned because I said something mean
yeah.
Yes.
But
about
Caillou.
Caillou.
As much as you're hating on the X-Men, this is one of the best. No, that's a commercial.
Oh, no, that
The
opening sequence was legit, dude.
That
Oh,
theme
yeah.
song is epic.
Yeah.
It's absolutely it was absolutely legit. And you know what? I'm not really hating on him. I mean, it's because keep in mind, I mean, back then that was a quality cartoon for sure. It just always rubbed me the wrong way with the accents. But along with the what was it, the Spider-Man?
The Spider-Man the animated series, or
Yeah. And then unfortunately they dropped the ball on the Fantastic Four and Iron Man, whatever, Power Hour or whatever the heck that was.
Oh, yeah.
So, but what else was there? So there was a Hulk show that came out too, right?
yeah. But it was all after I think it was all after the success of X-Men, and it was only the first couple of seasons of X-Men that was really kind of good. And then at one point they shifted their animation from, was it like Korea to Brazil or Mexico, and they went like literally to stick figures.
Yeah.
What does Venom's mask look like?
Yeah, that was no, I mean those were good cartoons, and back then we still had like you still got to watch cartoons on Saturdays, right?
Yeah, Saturday morning.
So how the mighty have fallen. It's actually funny because I actually did start watching the X-Men, the old X-Men cartoon on the Disney Plus recently. But I'll be honest with you, I've never been like a huge, well, I take that back. I kind of lost interest in the X-Men, I think, about the time that the cartoon came out, because like that's I'm one of those guys that like goes against the grain. And I know that like the X-Men was always like huge for Marvel Comics, but I was but nobody really talked about the X-Men because back then there was no such thing as the internet. So I was into it like then during like the Claremont days and stuff. I mean, I specifically remember that what the Brood saga.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean that was like okay, this is getting real, But now, mind you, when the cartoon came out, you're talking about you had like you had Rogue, Gambit, Jubilee,
Kitty Pryde.
Who?
Kitty Pryde. Shadowcat.
I think she was in the show.
She wasn't in the cartoon, was she?
Oh, and I'm sorry, I thought you were still talking about the Brood.
No. That's what is that you had like it's like Jubilee instead of Shadowcat, and it's like, wait a minute, who the heck is this Jubilee?
The one that keeps on frying the VCRs.
Yeah. Didn't the X-Men cartoon have some really annoying dude that like could morph into different things?
Was his name?
Was his name Morph?
I don't.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. But I think I think he died like in the first.
Yeah, didn't he die like right away or something like that?
Yeah, they killed him off right away, and which apparently really irritated Wolverine. He was very mad about losing his buddy Morph.
They hung out together a lot.
Seriously, and actually, he never got along with anybody, but apparently he was very, very upset with the loss of Morph.
No, I thought they had like a little green guy.
Hilarious. It's like, seriously, nobody liked this guy. But now all of a sudden everybody's like, we gotta, avenge Morph.
Speaking of Disney Plus, I was bored when I was working on the project that we can't talk about, and I put that on, and there was this horrible Avengers cartoon where I think there's only 8 or 10 episodes, and they're all like wearing half metal costumes. It had to have been late 80s, early 90s, and it has like Wonder Man and Hawkman, and Yellow Jacket is the leader of the team. Oh, it was terrible.
Yeah. Is that like one of those baby, like they have a whole series of like baby superheroes and they look like little children?
No, they were all fully grown people. I can't remember the name of it. I'll have to look that up. But anyway, I tortured myself with about 4 episodes of that before I just couldn't take it anymore.
Jay, Brian says that yours looks like One Punch Man.
Yeah, I haven't done his hair yet.
Oh, okay.
Is that the Rusty?
Brian Russ, yep.
Yeah, nice. I like Brian. The more and more I see his posts, I'm the more and more I like him. Not to mention, really, Scarlet wins the day. Anyway, so
I hate doing hair.
I'm sincerely started. You know what? I used to think that I hated drawing Carnage. Gambit's getting up there right now.
How often do you have to draw Gambit?
This is the first time I have ever drawn him.
Then how can you
one too many?
No, honestly, I have never drawn Gambit before, so that's what I was saying earlier, where it's like, dude, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Well, I don't understand how you could be irritated if this is just the first time.
Maybe it's because it's the first time, or I don't know. I'm just actually, you know what? This isn't too bad. It's a shame I got to venomize them.
I know. So then, how do you feel then when you work on a Marvel premiere and you get a card of a character you've never drawn before and you barely know them?
Oh, dude, then I just bust out the old Marvel encyclopedia.
Yeah.
Google the character, try and find something interesting about him. To try and like for instance, my favorite one of my favorite characters that I got to do, which got rejected, was Kang the Conqueror.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well,
isn't he on the banned list?
He is now, thanks to me, apparently.
Way to ruin it for everyone.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. I was like looking for characters to draw, and I was like, you know what, this guy's, I mean, he kind of has that weird, that weird cheesy Kirby look.
Yeah.
To him. So, but I was like, dude, I could actually kind of do this in a way that it kind of looks pretty cool. So I was like, and then I kind of read up on him, and like the information like in the encyclopedia was pretty limited. And then so I was talking to a buddy of mine, Jay Fife, about Kang, and he started like giving me the rundown on like who this guy is, right? So he's like from a different like multiverse, from a different universe. He's actually Reed Richards' kid.
What?
Yeah, he's Nathan Richards.
Yeah.
Or
all the kids are Nathan.
Nathaniel.
Nathan Richards, Nathan Summers, Nathan. There's another one.
like Nathaniel Richards or something, but he's from a different time.
Isn't it Franklin?
Yeah, it's not Franklin though. This is like from a different universe.
Oh, all right, never mind.
Different. So he's like Reed Richards' son, who became basically Adolf Hitler, you know. And it was so I mean, it kind of like, you know, he was giving me the you know, the whole backstory on him, and I was like, okay, now this dude's pretty cool, because he's like, you know, he basically you know, dominated his universe and then said, well, I'm gonna go ahead and take over other universes. Now the thing is that he has always been, you know, classically he was always an Avengers villain. He was never like, you know, he didn't come out as a Fantastic Four villain. So I think that Kang the Conqueror, when he first came out, he was not, in fact, Reed Richards' son from a different dimension. That I think that maybe they retconned that.
Well, I don't think they had the whole multiverse concept in place when all of these classic Golden Age guys were conceived.
Right. So, but that being said, but he wasn't on the ban list at the time, and then of course I did him, and then he got banned, or I got rejected, and the next he showed up on the banned list. So, yeah, it's like that was, sorry guys, you know, any other artists that are out there watching or whatever. Yeah, it's my fault that Kang the Conqueror is banned now, because I had the audacity to draw him. What was funny was it was on, I don't know if it was a triple panel or a quad panel.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, what was funny is, you know, because with those cards, kind of like because you did the double panels in Premiere, right, Andre?
Yeah, those gatefold or whatever they're called, the folded ones.
But it was like, it was one of those, it was a card where you had a drawing on each side.
Yeah.
One side got approved, the other side got rejected.
How's that work?
I have no idea, man. All I know is that, you know, apparently it didn't look like Kang on one side, and it did look, well, actually the one that actually looked cool was the, you know, the bigger side. And so I was like pretty, you know, I was pretty stoked with that one. But the one where I literally did it almost in the style of Jack Kirby, that's the side that got rejected. And I mean, you know, it was like taking a Jack Kirby drawing, and like it was like taking a picture of a Jack Kirby drawing in the Facebook and doing that 3D thing on it.
Yeah.
So it was like the 2D Jack Kirby drawing, because everybody's like super flat, you know, in Kirby's illustrations. Mm-hmm. They just look two-dimensional all the time. They all look like Flat Man. And so, and then, but what I did was I did that, you know, did it in Kirby style, but gave him more depth, which did kind of look weird. But
that's the one they didn't like.
Yeah, that's the one they didn't like. And maybe it got axed because it looked like Kirby. I don't know.
Yeah, but you're allowed to do that.
Yeah, but apparently so. Oh boy. Oh, Munshaw.
Right, so Munshaw's already inking.
Yeah, well, somebody's got a lot of stuff to do. Somebody wants to get off the air here pretty quickly.
Like, I'm out.
I thought you said you had the whole day set aside for this.
I do. I'm just going about my business. That's all.
You get to do a second one. Like I said, you know, nobody. Who else did anybody? Hi, Scarlett. She said, "Wow." The lost my train of thought. Thanks, Scarlett.
Anyone else?
Oh yeah. Oh, anyway. Did anybody else vote for my Venomized Squirrel Girl?
Let me check.
When Mike's done, he should do that.
I'm not even on my wireframe ink. I still got a lot to do here. And I'm lining up on my camera so I don't drive people crazy.
Did you guys see that picture? The last stream that I did, I think that was was my giveaway, which I didn't do this week, guys. I know, sorry. That's because we had this scheduled and I was in the middle of a gig, so to speak, for
sorry to interrupt you. Amanda's voting for your Squirrel Girl, Venomized.
Not she did.
Well, she said she will.
Oh well,
a little late to the party though.
Yeah, I know.
A little late.
Was she only wants to get that so she can win it, or get it so she can send it off to JD.
How do I search on this?
I'm done.
Surprised he's not up yet. Let me see. Where's the poll? Where's the
up
poll?
at all hours of the night, constantly like doing whatever he does.
I can't find your poll. Did you delete it?
No, you can't. Well, I don't know if you can delete it, but no, I did not.
Well, you can delete the poll.
I think you can delete it if you set it up. I didn't delete it.
No, I did not delete it. I wanted to edit it, but I couldn't even edit it.
Scrolling.
Yeah, it's
that's not your poll.
Apparently only got 2 votes now, so.
You sound very disappointed.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna venomize anybody, why not do Squirrel Girl?
You know what? We could have venomized that little squirrel that hangs out with her. Now that would have been
the venomized Tippy.
Yeah, is that its name?
I'm down for that. I love drunk squirrels. All right, so let's see. There's 8 more options. So Venomized X-Men is leading, then Gambit, then Deathlock. So if we technically would have eliminated user submissions, Deathlock would have been the winner. Fat Doors number 4. Apocalypse, Rocket, Sabretooth, Black Cat. Oh, look, Ian voted for that.
Oh, that's
surprisingly. Storm, Sinister Six, Mysterio, Magneto, Venomized Squirrel Girl is actually tied with Magneto, Mystique, and Sinister Six, and Storm. So, if you ran this through the weekend, you could have had a chance.
Could have had a shot at it.
Could have had a shot at it. And then somebody suggested Venomized Colossus, but they didn't actually put it in the poll.
That, that would have been Venomized Colossus would have been an interesting drawing. Just because
did we lose Munshaw? He's frozen.
Not again.
No.
It looks like he's frozen.
That or he's thinking.
The funny thing is that he's probably already done with this drawing.
Stop. I'm back. I don't know what you said about me, but it probably wasn't good.
Said you were frozen and you were probably already done with your drawing.
So we're coloring these?
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna do whatever. Yeah, sure.
Well, why did you want? You can do a grayscale if you want to do grayscale. There's no rules here.
There's clearly no rules here. We're doing Venomized Gambit. instead of Deathlock.
Should have done Venomized Deathlock. Oh, and Brian with the Venomized Fat Thor.
Brian with his damn fat Thor. I mean, I'm down.
He's not the only one, though. He's not the only one. There's somebody else that's all about the fat Thor.
He's the one who keeps bringing it up, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not opposed to the fat Thor in any way, shape, or form. However, here's my question.
You just don't want to do it.
Not that we have to follow rules on doing this stuff, but the because that's an MCU thing. Yeah, is that a like, for instance, you can't do like a fat Thor in a card set, right?
No.
I don't know. I think you could.
No.
Well, as long as he's not wearing the film costume.
You
can't do a fat Rogue or a fat Wolverine.
Have they appeared in the
chubby character subset?
It's got to be, but it's got to be 616.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's preferred 616.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I don't know. I
mean, again, it's not like we can do whatever we want because we're not doing, upper deck stock. But
yeah, well, you're obviously doing whatever you want.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was just too easy.
Holy cow. No, because I forget which set it was where I was doing the larger cards. Were those 3x5s or 5x7s? I can't remember.
Right. 5x7s, yeah.
And I was doing a couple of those, and I did a Hulk Buster, and I thought it came out rather good. And I had done some research, and it looked like it had been in the comics and that it did exist. Yep. But nope, got the big red X.
The big red X is awesome.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever gotten the big red X on an AP?
No.
Yes.
Oh, that's brutal, isn't it?
So I had it approved. I shipped it out because, I waited for approval for like 3 months. So just sitting there in an envelope with everything ready. Email came in the morning, approved. On my way to work, I dropped it off the post office. Next morning, I got a follow-up email saying, "Ooh, sorry. Unfortunately, we approved that by mistake. It was actually rejected." So I replied, "Ooh, sorry. Unfortunately, it's already on its way."
What was it? If you don't
it
mind.
I have the prelim sketch for it somewhere here, I think. So okay, that it was a Psylocke. No, not Psylocke, Elektra. And then coincidentally,
was it for Uribe?
Sorry?
Was it for Uribe?
No.
Oh, okay. Jeff and Hawaii?
No. But it did get lost in the mail. UPS said it was delivered. The buyer never got it. And then that was the end of that. Went through the whole insurance claim thing. So
they want that back.
I like that story. That's a convenient out for you.
It is, right?
Right. Yeah.
Hang on, let me see if I have it here. And what they said.
Just out there digging.
Okay, no, I have an envelope with all my prelim sketches for.
Wait, you do preliminary sketches?
On APs for sure.
Wow.
Really,
clearly, I'm doing something wrong.
Really appreciate that. Now we all look bad.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm not getting this done anytime soon. So let me walk you through my process. So, for example, here's a Rogue prelim sketch 5x7, right?
Yeah.
Clean pencil. So I send this to whoever wants it.
She's a little busty.
Yeah, this was on personal stock, so she was very busty. So then I'll scan this and adjust contrast, brightness, whatever in Photoshop, print down a standard sketch card size, and then I'll transfer this to the cardstock.
Oh, look at you.
right?
Wow.
Well, here's another one. I don't know where the pencils are, but there's the scanned down version. Here's another one for an Omega Red. But like for example, I did this on I think my first live stream was this blob render, and right, I think I remember that one. And then Rodney actually wanted this on a AP, so scanned it, adjusted the proportion, and this was the 3.5 by 2.5 printout, which I transferred to the card, which is still pending approval. Can't show that one. Can't show that one. Oh, I can show this one. This was a sketch that the client didn't like, so we didn't do that one.
I don't know what that was. I'm waiting for the.
This one's
Okay.
good. No, that wasn't it. This ended up. No, that one didn't happen.
Do you throw anything out?
Yeah. So here, this was the original sketch, and this is what the client approved. But then by the time I started doing it, I did this one for him as well. Ended up as a card. But by the time I finished this card and I moved on to the next one, I don't like this anymore. So then this was the
that's cool.
final. So this ended up as a card. You can imagine who's got Angela. There's the scaled down version. Here's another one for an Omega. There's a Wolverine that happened. There's the full size of the previous Psylocke. There's one that didn't happen. This one I can't show. And of course, I don't have here the Electra that I'm talking about. But essentially, she was pointing. So let me grab a piece of scrap paper and I'll show you the pose. And what they said is because one of her sides was pointing towards the camera, towards perspective. And that likely the reason it got rejected is because they don't like weapons.
But it doesn't say. Like that's the thing is that it doesn't say weapons.
It says guns. It says guns.
It says guns. But I know guys have gotten their cards rejected when they do like Hawkeye doing that with a bow and arrow.
Yeah, see, I didn't know that.
Well, neither did I. I mean, but
I never, because I've seen cards
Hawkeye's
where
not exactly one of those guys that I go to. I had and I'm really kind of bummed out about it, but for Premiere 19, I did, because I did like 3 batches of sketch cards for that. And so like just real quick, the story behind that was so I got my first set from Premiere. I got it like basically when everybody else got theirs, at the first time, right? And then remember when like after we basically finished our set for Premiere, if you were on that first run where all of a sudden, like, Upper Deck, it looked like that they were like in a pinch, and they put out that like APB out.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Saying,
never got it.
Holy smokes, we need artists. Somebody,
it
was like one of those things. It was like, I don't know what happened, but I'm pretty sure that a lot of the stuff that got sent in that first batch got rejected.
Okay.
So they were like they were kind of clamoring to get stuff out, more sketch cards, to get it all sorted. And so I was like, I sent in the email to at the time it was Micah.
Yep.
Saying, hey dude, I'll do some more sketch cards. And it was funny because he was all like, all right, well, we'll have to look at your portfolio and stuff. And it's like, well, why don't you just look at the sketch cards I literally just sent in? Kind of a thing. So I do. So like, it's like, yeah, then like the next day I get an email back saying, oh yeah. You're on. We're good to go. Kind of thing. Right. And so I get the so they're sending me the other set, the second batch of cards for Premiere, and they so I'm waiting. These things never show up, right? So I'm at San Diego Comic-Con in
San Diego.
in San Diego. No, it's 19. I'm trying to figure out what year it was. It must have been 19. So I'm sitting there, and what year is it now? 20?
20.
Yeah.
Maybe it was 18. I don't remember. Anyway, so whenever we drew those cards, so I got Micah, Ali, and Zach walk up to my table at San Diego, and Zach says to me, "Hey man, I don't know what to tell you." He goes, "Those cards that we were sending you, you are one of 4 people that they just never went out."
Oh, jeez.
So, and these were all cards that were supposed to go into the physical packs. So, like my first batch and my second batch were supposed to go into the physical packs, right? But there were like 4 dudes overall that didn't get their cards in time to get them back in time to go into physical. So they ended up going into e-packs. Right.
Yeah.
So they were telling me, yeah, well, they're not going to make it to physical, so we'll just put them in e-packs. I'm like, all right, whatever. I mean, to be honest, it's like, okay, doesn't matter to me. And then so I'm like, cool. I get home from Comic-Con, and then they have, they show up in the mail like maybe half a week later. And then so I finished those, and then I get the email, hey, would you like to do a set for e-packs? And I'm like, okay, cool. Now I totally like went off on this weird tangent, but coming back to Rocket. So
Well, yeah, sorry. How did we end up on Rocket?
Yeah, I know. I actually forgot what I was talking about. So like the first set of like the second batch I did was the first time that I was doing like the single, the base card sketch cards.
Yep.
It was, the first batch I think it was nothing but triple panels.
Oh, you didn't have any singles at all?
I didn't have any singles in my first batch. I only had panels. So my first batch was my first batch was nothing but triple panels. My second batch was a few it was a like 10, I want to say 10 base card sketch cards, 5 5x7s, and like a handful of quads. That was my second batch. And then so like that batch I had a Rocket Raccoon, which I did, and I did them a little more cartoony, kind of the way that they actually do them in the comics. And then then I got a third batch to do for e-packs, and those were all nothing but like the base cards, the base sketch cards.
Yep.
Yep.
And I had another Rocket which I banged out, and it was hands down awesome. However, and he was holding the gun.
Nope.
But he was like pointing it just slightly off camera, kind of a thing. But I think that it got rejected because they thought that he was like pointing the gun at the viewer.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh man, and seriously, that's one of those things where like you got two shots at doing this, and the one where you actually killed it is the one that got rejected. So disappointing. Nothing.
Andre, we got an explanation as to why the AP was rejected.
That, you know what? That would be nice. It would be nice to get any kind of explanation, because I've talked to like collectors about, you know, rejections before, and they're like, well, did they tell you why? No, they don't tell you why. And
the guess, though, right? Like, I'm guessing it's because of this. I mean, my understanding is that there's two tiers of approvals. There's the internal approval and then the licensor approval.
Yeah.
So, I mean, some things like cleavage and guns are probably just going to get flagged immediately by internal approvals.
Right.
So if it's something like that, maybe they'll tell me like, hey, you know, you got an AK-47 on Rocket Raccoon, and that's against.
Yeah, because it's a real gun.
Yeah. But it's funny if either of you guys have the Jusco, was it the 16 masterpieces? No, which one did he redo? I don't remember the year.
Yeah, I think it was 16.
Wasn't it?
But the art book for that, which is a great book, great read, right?
Yeah, didn't somebody just post that they picked that up on the
yes, somebody did, because somebody posted the Bianchi one, and then picked up that one. I still can't find the Bianchi one, but I have the masterpieces one, the Jusco one that came in like a while ago. I had like advanced order, but he shows one of his Punishers, and he shows the final pencils for that. So there's a section in the book where it sketches, and then it goes to the paintings later on. And he's holding what's it called? MP5, like the low machine gun.
The Heckler and Koch.
And he's pointing that towards the bottom right of the camera of the canvas. And then he says, yeah, well, you know, this doesn't look like the final piece. And then a couple of pages later, he shows the final piece, and there's a little excerpt there where he talks about saying, you know, Marvel didn't like the gun, so the final painting, the Punisher's pointing, is just pointing like this. He doesn't have the gun in his hand. So, I mean, you know, we're sitting here trying to justify why our sketch cards got denied. But, you know, at the end of the day, you know, Jusco and Simone, and I'm sure Julie and Boris and all the other legendary artists that worked on the sets go through the same stuff. I think the difference is they get to show a sketch and not spend obscene amounts of time working on a painting, and then somebody at Marvel saying, no.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
We don't like the Silver Surfer when he's upset. Can you make him happier? Or something like that.
The have you any of you guys met Jusco?
Yeah, I've met him a couple of times at the cons.
That guy's a riot. I love that guy. He is hands down one of my favorite people on the planet.
Super nice guy. Very, very nice.
See, I've actually stayed away from telling this story just because it's a story that probably is, you know, kind of looks bad on some artists, but you know, the hell with it. I'm going to go with it anyways. Because, you know, I'm an asshole. So like the first time I met Jusco was in Pittsburgh. It was at Pittsburgh Comic-Con, and you know, I was introduced to him by Billy Tucci, and Juiceco was like he's one of those guys where you meet him and he's immediately like your favorite person. This guy is just, I mean, he just, you know, I don't know if there's anybody I've really met in the industry that's more real, more down to earth than that dude. You know, I mean, he just no zero, absolutely zero ego. Just a great guy and like your typical blue collar dude, you know, and and of course, you know, I mean, anybody who doesn't know, I mean, you're talking about, we look at Juiceco as being, you know, this is like the father, if you will, of Marvel masterpieces, right?
Yeah.
But the guy was a New York City cop.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, you don't get much more real than that, right? So,
Sorry. On that note, did you know Steve Buscemi, the actor?
yeah, he was a New York firefighter.
Yeah.
And actually suited up on 9/11.
Yeah.
Yeah, that. And in all fairness, Buscemi's not like a huge dude, so the thought of him actually carrying any of that gear is pretty amazing. But
Yeah. Sorry, back to your story.
Back to my story where I'm gonna totally make an ass of myself, I guess. So I'm sitting there and we're down at the lobby. It was after the show. Might have been like a Friday night or something. And we're all hanging out. And there was in the lobby of the hotel that I was staying at, the host hotel that usually does the show was actually being remodeled. So like all the artists and guests and so on and so forth were like kind of strewn all over the town in different hotels. So we're down in the lobby, and it was a virtual who's who in comics that that were down there just sketching, working on commissions, so on and so forth. And I sit down. Like my buddy Sean was with me, but he was I think he came down with like his some commissions. I didn't have any commissions that day because I'm a terrible comic artist and nobody wants to buy stuff from me. So I had
Did you tell anyone that you were open for commissions?
No, nobody wanted. Nobody wanted anything from me, so I didn't have any homework. So I was there. I was just there to kind of hang out. And you got it was like Chris Marino, Stuart Sager, Billy Tucci, Mark Sparcio, Joe Juiceco, Allison Sohn, Adam Hughes. I'm sitting right across the table from Adam Hughes. I mean, just like it was literally a who's who of all these guys. And I just met Juiceco. I'm sitting across from Adam Hughes, and then Juiceco sits down next to Adam Hughes while Hughes is working on a commission, right? And so I had a really strange and conversation with Hughes, which really kind of made me look like an a-hole. Which I won't get into. But the what was funny was like Juiceco sits down next to Adam Hughes and starts chatting with him, and they're Hughes had like picked up he picked up a comic and had somebody sign it, and I can't remember for the life of me who it was, but it was like the original artist on this book, and it's like an old like Silver Age book, so it's like some legendary artist. I mean, forgive me for forgetting who it was, but he had signed it for him, and then Juice goes like, "Oh, cool, you got this, that, this comic or whatever," and he pulls it out, and God bless him, he just like goes right at it, right, just like pulls it out of the bag and board, just starts flipping through this thing, and he's like manhandling this comic, and you could see Adam Hughes literally losing his mind because Adam's like, dude, that's like, that's like mint condition, and you're just getting your grubby little mitts all over it and just flipping through it, and I'm sitting there just laughing at it because Juice goes absolutely aloof to the fact that Hughes is losing his mind over this, right? I'm laughing my arse off, and then but Juice goes, I mean, Mike, where when he gets talking, he's got a bit of an ADD thing where he just goes.
Yeah.
He's like a chatty Cathy, where you pull a string and it's game on. And so he's like just going off, and Hughes is quietly stewing during his whole thing, and then Juice goes, attention gets pulled somewhere else, and he starts talking to somebody else, and like just slaps the book back down on the table, and like Hughes is just absolutely appalled, that he just like kind of threw it down on the table and stuff, and he stops what he's working on to carefully pick the book up and ever so carefully slide it back into the bag, and Jusco then notices from the corner of his eye, turns around and says, "Oh man, I'm sorry, I should have done that," and he's not, "No, I got it, don't worry about it." It's just funny as heck.
Yeah.
That guy, seriously, he is hands down one of my favorite people ever.
Where's my racket? So as you're telling stories, and I went to prepare my palette, Munshaw's like 86.5% done. Oh, another 87% done.
Yeah, no, I think I might be done penciling.
I still got a ways to go. There's still some stuff that needs to be done here.
You have color.
Yeah.
I have pencils.
You could have done this in Crayolas.
Art.
Are we on time? All right. Now we're in. A couple other people watching.
Yeah, the good news is we got 6 now, and it's stayed that way.
Yeah, people watching me.
So we have a
comment on the poll. Hang on, I'm gonna post this on the poll and say for all you.
Has anybody even sounded off yet?
When Brian did, and Tommy, and Amanda said something, right?
And Scarlett.
I'm just gonna go, and Scarlett, of course.
Come on, folks, get in the conversation here.
Yeah, I'm just gonna post and ask, where's all the Venomized voters?
The Venomized what? Thor?
Voters.
Oh.
And where's all the Venomized voters at?
Yeah, they could, because I see 6 are watching. That does not equal 21, you sons of guns.
It's
It's your fault we're doing this.
You did this.
You did this. Where are you? It's a holiday.
Oh, there you go. Tommy says Venom never seems to do a lot for him. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, you're welcome to the club.
I have no bone to pick with Venom. This is my go-to character. So
I know
when
it
I
is.
saw people saying Venomized, the back of my mind, I was like, yay! But I wanted to do Deathlock.
In the back of your mind, you were like, yay, but I got to draw somebody else too.
Yeah. We'll see. So let me look up and see.
Color.
So I see Munshaw is doing. So talk us through your process there. What made you do what you're doing? Yeah.
Well, like
Slow you down a bit.
Like why I use this pose.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I didn't really realize what a Venomized X-Men was, so I had to do a little bit of research on that to make sure that I was understanding what it was. And so then, thanks to Dr. Google, that showed me a lot of the Marvel characters getting venomized and what that would look like. And then I was thinking that I wanted to keep it to a card, 2.5 by 3.5, since this was for the Marvel Card Collectors podcast, or not podcast, but the group. So I wanted to keep it to a card and put it on my stock, so that way we wouldn't run into any problems if I put it on a Marvel Premiere AP or anything like that. But I didn't want to do like a full figure because I was Frady scared of doing it here live and how long that would take me to do a full figure. So I was like, you know what? If I just do a headshot, I have a decent chance of getting most of it done during our broadcast here so that people could see what was going on. So then I was looking at some of my old Gambit references and stuff like that. And I wanted to do something with the coat wrapping around his face and then the venomized thing coming up from underneath the coat and going up around his head. So that was my thought. Cool. And now I see your guys's, I realized I forgot the tongue. So now I feel bad that I don't have a tongue.
Well, somebody thought this through.
I told you I was Frady scared, so I wanted to make sure that I was going to be all right. So,
and this is exactly why I'm the worst sketch card artist ever.
That's not true. Oh my god!
Because I straight up just just throw caution to the wind and wing it every single time. Yeah, I tried to think it through. You guys called me out on it. So now it's like, okay, fine. We're back to winging it. So.
Well, Tommy's a fan of the headshots.
Oh, well, thank you, Tom.
Well, Tommy's wrong. Headshots are off. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
It's hard to get a lot of detail in a sketch card size, right? Like trying to do a full figure.
Well, especially if you're trying to venomize somebody. Because there's like so much stuff to do. And then you've got like 2.5 by 3.5 inches to do it.
Yeah.
So what's your thought process, Jay?
I thought I was clear that there was none.
All right, sorry, I guess I wasn't paying attention. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, it's just throw it down and see what comes out. I don't know. You know what? In terms of like when venomizing somebody, I always think of just those cool images in the books where Eddie Brock is like turning into Venom.
Like mid transformation.
Basically, yeah. I mean, it's not like it's not like I turn around and do like the full venomized version. I always tend to do the actual transformation. Just because I think it's a little more dramatic. And I think visually speaking, Venom is kind of one of those characters that's I don't think he's aesthetically interesting. Because and maybe it's just because he's black and white and stuff. Unless like whenever I do Venom, I do them with the weird tentacles kind of hanging off.
Yeah.
It's like the end of his transformation kind of a thing. Just to spice things up. I don't like carnageize him, so to speak, but there's a little bit of that, just to kind of add a little more oomph to the drawing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I have like for this specifically, it's just okay, like I started the drawing and I just drew Gambit, and then I when I get Gambit sorted, then I draw Venom over the top of them. So it's like at that point, it's like, okay, where do I stick the teeth? Where do I stick the eyes? Where do I stick the tongue? Kind of a thing. Try and try and kind of build up from the base character itself. I mean,
okay,
and that's I mean, sounds pretentious as hell. Oh, I just do this. This is I mean, that's I'm just making it up as I go along.
What was your thought process?
So with the Venomized, we're just trying to figure out what's the key aesthetics of the character that's being Venomized. Because really, if you look at Gambit, it's just a guy with long hair, right?
And a trench coat.
And a trench coat, but it's always the card. So I was trying to find a pose that will allow me to do the long hair and the Venom tongue, because that's a staple of the character. And then incorporate the card. And just ended up with this. Could have played around with a mannequin, try to get a pose and stuff like that, but that seemed like not something I wanted to do today.
I just looked at the comments here. Tommy was saying that Omega did a great one on Stanley. You guys saw that, right?
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah.
The creator thing.
Yeah. I got to tell you, man, Jonathan is just absolutely crushing it as doing his sketch cards and stuff. I wouldn't, I'd love to see him actually get in the game, so to speak.
Yeah.
Because I mean, he's hands down better than a lot of the guys that I've seen putting stuff out. Which is funny because I mean, it's obviously art is just like it's the what beauty is in the eye of the beholder kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But sketch cards are kind of interesting because Gordo, what's up, dude? I think that between the three of us, I would argue that Munshaw is probably the best sketch card artist.
Oh, stop. That's not true.
No, but I say that in the sense that what a sketch
card
it's
is. Not a compliment.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
So hold your horses there, Tiger.
All right, never mind. I'll play.
No, I mean, for like what a sketch card is, and like being able to jam out X amount of cards within a deadline, and he's like Perna-esque, if you will, where it's just it's it's a perfect sketch card. It's like every time I do a sketch card, it's like I just overwork the hell out of it. Or it's almost like one of those things where I'm constantly trying to impress somebody. Whereas like Munshaw can just turn around, jam something out, and it's like spot on, done. Game over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know if that was a compliment or not, but
it definitely.
I think he turned it around.
I just always struggle with what is a sketch card? What's it supposed to be? Because then I see you guys painting stuff all the time, and I'm like, well, they're wonderful, they're beautiful, and eventually I will get around to starting to paint superheroes. I paint some of my other style cards now, but I'm like, they're not sketch cards anymore, they're painted cards. And
right.
We need to get a little bit more recognition for all the work and all of the pain and suffering it takes to paint these things then. So, when I'm doing sketch cards, I'm like, okay, sketch card to me, I'm trying to keep it around an hour per card if I can do that, and just, let it be and just let it rip. And then you need to move on to your next one because, as artists, all three of us will look at our piece and go, well, I really screwed the pooch on that one. It don't look good at all. And then you got to move on to the next one because you'll kill yourself if you're like, okay, let me go back in, rework this, change this, move this around. And, you could spend days on fixing this stuff. And then I don't even know if it would still even match what I have in my head if I was doing that. So I try to do my best with each card, but at a certain point too, you got to say, you know what, this is good. It's fine for what it is. And it's, time to move on, because if I keep reworking it, pretty soon the finish on this card is just going to start to come off then too.
Clear Jeff was your friend.
That was just a much better way of saying exactly the same thing I just said. I mean, and that's exactly what I meant by you're the best sketch card artist here. Is I mean, you jam it out, you do the thing, and it's perfect every time. And I know I know what you're talking about as far as the struggle in terms of every time as an artist, illustrator, whatever term you want to use, you're never quite happy with your end result, but it is commercial art. So, at some point in time, you have to put it to bed.
Yeah.
Whereas I think that you are probably much more comfortable with putting something to bed than I am.
Yeah.
Specifically, in terms of, hey, ready to rock and roll, on to the next one. Where, I admittedly do not spend an hour per sketch card.
Mm-hmm.
It's much more, but yeah, I mean, if you really look at, I mean, think about what was it, Andre? You said 300 and some odd hours for your last set.
350 plus.
Ooh.
350 divided by what, like 100?
99.
Yeah, but
so that's what I did. I averaged around 3 to 4. Like there's some cards that took me 5.5 hours, and that's stupid, right? Like,
yeah, especially if you
to
consider
Michael's point, investing that kind of time into it. But there's two factors in play there. One, Corona. I have nothing better to do.
right.
Right. So honestly, the timing on that was perfect for that particular set, because otherwise I would have been sitting there like burning stuff.
Right.
That was one. And the other one is the like I've mentioned before, I'm new to this whole sketch art thing and commercial art. This is not what I do professionally. That's what I went to school for, but then I went a different direction. And then when I started getting back into the arts, the visual arts, I was, sketching and painting in the evenings anyways. And then the opportunity came around for the sketch cards. And the first set I did, not to knock it, I did look at it and sense, okay, let me see how fast I can bang these out. And, they're fine. I'm not hating them. But then as I did a couple other sets, I realized, and my approach to sketch cards anyways, is that I could go take a acrylic painting class, because honestly, I didn't really do acrylic painting ever until I'm going to say Black Panther.
Okay.
So I'm like, I could go to like one of the local galleries twice a week, or Michael's, and take one of those fundamental classes to learn how to paint acrylics and paint vases and teacups, or I could, spend an hour or two each evening working on a sketch card of a character that's a little bit more interesting, and try to really get familiar with the medium and get better at working with this medium.
Right.
So when I look at it in that sense, like, yeah, you know what? At the end of that set, I put in close to 400 hours in acrylic painting, and I think I've improved my technique and my understanding of the medium because of it. The financial gain behind it is irrelevant, because I could have spent, $45 twice a week to go to a gallery and draw flowers, or paint flowers, and have, an artiste tell me that my brush stroke should be more organic or stuff like that.
Right.
I don't do that. Like, I remember when I was in art school, and in our graduating class. So in Canada, the way it used to work, there was 13 grades for high school. So actually your last year was your 13th year of school.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, they got rid of that. I think I was the last year that finished it. And I went to an arts program, so half my course, well, not half, like a quarter of all my courses were arts related throughout high school. So in my 13th year, which is called the OAC year, you were supposed to work all year on this great masterpiece, great artistic piece they wanted to work on. And that was supposed to, take everything you've learned from grade 9 to 12, with oils and watercolors, and we did some acrylics and illustration and ink and whatever it is, and then come together with this great, super creative concept. And we had like 3 weeks to come with the concept, put a proposal for it. And my proposal was this big Frazetta type oil painting. I want to do it with thunder and dragons and unicorns and all that other stuff. And you have to present it to the art council, the various art teachers or sculptors or whatever. And they said, no, you can't do that as your project, because that's illustration.
What?
And this is supposed to be fine art. Yeah. So that's what I told them. Like, no, you can't do that. So I was like, okay, whatever. Came back a day later and came up with this goofy concept with reflective mirrors that it made a whole installation piece that I put in the center area beside the cafeteria in the high school. And when the sun came through the sunroof, it reflected a lightning bolt onto the walls. It took me like 3 days to put it together. It did nothing for the rest of the year. But I forget my point.
But I digress.
Right, so that soured me on fine art. So going to an art gallery and having somebody say that, oh, you should have more organic brush strokes, or you want to see the paint, or you want to see the mistakes. No, I don't want to see the mistakes. I like Frazetta. I like Jusco. I like Bianchi. I like Julie Bell. That's the kind of stuff I want to do. And I'm not going to get that from an art gallery course. So I'm just going to figure out how this stuff works and try to get to that level. I'm not saying I am at that level, because I certainly am not, but that's my path.
Well, I do think that as far as rising stars go in this this medium, you're certainly one of them. I've seen your name pop up a lot in conversation, and kind of the go-to artist, so to speak. So I mean, freaking kudos to you, man.
Well, thank you, and I certainly do appreciate that. Hopefully, some of those comments don't start with "effing."
Yeah, no, it's no, they're followed by MFer. You know that Andre Osh MFer? No, I mean, it's funny, and I don't want to turn this into a a virtual circle jerk or anything, but I mean, you guys are freaking rock stars in my mind, as well as
I'm gonna get all emotional now.
Gordon still watching, because you're doing a thing with him on Sunday, right?
I didn't see his name pop up.
I
Gordon
saw.
Wilson?
Oh, I thought I heard you yell, "Hey, Gordon."
Yeah,
I don't know who he was talking to.
No, you.
That was, Gordon Wills came in. That guy is, I think, probably one of the best cartoonists I've ever seen. I mean,
he's something else, and
he's up there, and I use the term cartoonist specifically because I think that, like, if you look at, like, who is probably, in comics, illustration, whatever, who's the greatest cartoonist there is, and I would argue it's probably Jeff Campbell, J. Scott Campbell.
Yeah.
And Gordon's right up there. I mean, he's just, and it's not about the style, it's not about the technique or anything. It's about the acting, the emotion, and he absolutely crushes it with how he gets his characters to emote.
Yeah, he does some really great stuff, and like I said, I'll do a thing with him on Sunday. We're looking forward to that. But like, if you look at his,
I got to meet that guy, because that guy is just freaking awesome.
well, tune in Sunday morning at 10 a.m. EST if you can get up.
It might be too early for him.
Maybe, but
Brian says we are all stars. We all glow in our own special way.
in my own mind.
Thank you, Brian.
Yeah. Oh, you're at color too. Well, I'm not a color. So I'll get this done by the next 4th of July.
No, I'm gonna power through this. Oops. I'm gonna power through this thing.
I'm not.
I'm actually not.
No way.
The girls are home.
Brian says, Warner, you have the biggest fan in Scarlet.
I am the biggest fan of Scarlet. She's a beast. Love that kid. Just an absolute cutie patootie.
Does Gambit have 5 o'clock shadow?
You can. It's 5 o'clock.
I'm gonna go with it. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I decided that the least chance of screwing this up would just to do watercolors. So that's
I don't think I've seen you use markers.
Really? You know what? I don't think I have. I mean, with one of these things.
But you do marker stuff, right?
Oh, dude, I almost exclusively do markers. It's almost like oh, you know what? We're just goofing around on the live stream. I'm gonna do something I don't usually do. I did on the last set. I did like I was saying earlier. I did kind of mixed up the style a little bit, so it'll be interesting to see how that's received. But there was a handful of cards that I did, you know, quote unquote normal style, and that was I actually did those in watercolor, but everything else I did in marker.
All right.
So I'm curious to see when that set drops, to see what the
reception.
what the takeaway is on that, because definitely was out of my zone, so to speak. But I mean, you guys know how it is. I mean, you can't just turn around and jam out the same thing over and over and over again, you know?
No, and that's where I'm at. And, you know, as stuff is coming along, it's trying new techniques, trying different things, because it's kind of been, you get to the point where you're like, been there, done that. You know, there's no need to go back and, you know, just keep doing the same thing over and over again.
And you know what? And that's, I was having a conversation with a buddy of mine, Mark Wolf. He used to do a lot of stuff for Tops, and he was one of the Lucasfilm artists. So he did like a lot of Star Wars, Indiana Jones stuff.
Yeah.
But we were talking, and this was early on in the Rona days. And it's like this whole thing with the Rona is like artistically almost a gift, in the sense that you can't go to shows, you can't do cons, you can't, I mean, there's everything's kind of like, it was like the world, pressed the pause button.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So you kind of had like this opportunity to kind of goof around with things and try different things, and that's actually how I got into trying the acrylics thing, was because the entire world shut down. It was like, well, how do I expand, as an artist, as an artiste, so I started goofing around with that. And I was just having a conversation yesterday about the working on my my Thor. It's acrylics are funny because it's, if you're doing a big piece, it's not something that you can do all in one setting, but when you get going on it, you don't want to stop.
Right.
You don't want to lose that momentum.
Yeah.
And there's no real place when you're working with that medium. There's no real spot that's convenient to say, okay, that's good. This is a good stopping point, and it's almost to the, I'm almost to the point where I want to set aside a weekend kind of a thing and just focus on one painting,
Mm-hmm.
as a because like, I mean, you get real life going on and stuff. You got other things that you got to do, and there's no, you don't have the you don't have the luxury of being able to say, okay, I'm going to stop here, kind of a thing, and then go on to real life stuff like grilling up dinner or cutting the grass, or you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah. No, I definitely know what you mean.
Isn't that why you have kids?
Well, yeah, and well, yeah, aside from that,
But yeah, I was
No, I
working.
mean, don't you get kids so they can cook your dinner for you and mow your lawn?
dude, you clearly don't have kids
I don't. No.
because that's
Listen,
not
I went on the
that's
eBay.
not
They're
how
not available.
this works. That's not how this works. It's not how any of this works.
But yeah, I was going to say, when you're talking about the painting, been doing these commissions for a guy in their watercolor paintings. And
Right.
what I struggle with is I want to keep going. I want to keep moving on the same piece.
Right.
Watercolors don't let you do that. You get to a certain point and you're like, I have to stop and let this damn thing dry. And
Right.
go on to something else. So I've struggled with that because usually, like when I do a sketch card or a commission for somebody, I'd like to start it, do it, and then be done with it, and then go on to the next thing. So, but watercolors has really shown me if I can do 3 of them at the same time or so, then that helps because I can just keep rotating them in and out while they're drying on the side.
Right.
Yeah, the hair dryer is a winner.
Well, again, and it's just due to my lack of talent with a hair dryer right now. I was doing that on a couple of them, and it started to push my colors around a little bit. I was like, "Oh, I'm doing that too hard." So I feel sometimes if I get it just right and it's staring at me just right, I'm afraid to put a dryer on it or anything. I said, you know what? Let me just set this aside and let this paint set, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing about watercolor in general too, is that there's a certain, and I think it's painting in general, where you get to that point where it's like, wow, that's looking pretty good. Better not keep working on it because I'm just gonna screw it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's like, wow, I really kind of like that effect. It's not what I initially have envisioned, but this really turned out pretty well. And then, but for some reason, like an idiot, you go out of your way to like try and get to that point that you initially envisioned. I'm still on you. That you initially envisioned, and then next thing you know, you absolutely just pooched it. You know, and it's like, oh, I should have stopped when I was ahead, kind of a thing.
Yeah, and I got to get better with watercolors and more confident in being able to fix something, because right now, if I screw up the fixing part, I'm a little. But like with marker, if I screw something up with marker, I'm like, that's nothing. I can fix that. I'll go back and I can do this or that, cover it up. No one will know.
Yeah, I think that the way that I approach painting, and I don't, I mean, I can't speak to it specifically because, I'm an idiot. But the like maybe Andre can explain it better. But when I paint, I just go in there not really expecting anything for the most part, and I just wing it, let it, just let the freak flag fly, man, and just bang it out, and whatever it ends up. I mean, I honestly approach everything when I'm painting with, I don't know how this is gonna end up, but I'm just gonna go ahead and bang away at it until I'm finished, and then hopefully it turns out okay.
Yeah. Well,
my video stream went stupid again, so I'm gonna hop off and hop back in 1 sec.
Well, by the looks of all your cards, I think you winging it works out just fine, because all the stuff you've been doing has been coming out great. Even the sketch covers that you've been doing, I've really been enjoying those.
Sorry, finishing my scotch. I'm not, I'm not sitting there saying that, I suck, even though I kind of do.
Oh, stop.
But This is, I mean, I think that like doing things like this, hanging out with other artists and stuff, and I'm a big fan of chilling out and watching what everybody else is doing, so I can turn around and steal their techniques.
Oh yeah, definitely. I hear you on that.
And I mean, you always learn, and you're always, doing something. Are you done?
Yeah, I'm done. I've been done for a bit, bud.
Dude.
I'm sorry.
All right, well, do another one. do a Deathlock. Do World Girl. It's all stuff you're gonna put up for sale anyways.
True.
You've got a captive audience.
I don't know about that. Can we sell these, or are we just going to give these away to the people that didn't show up that voted for?
We're not giving anything away to anybody who didn't show up and voted for. As a matter of fact, those people get charged double
for next time they reach out for a commission.
Yeah, or next time they, if there's the next poll should be, okay, what do you want to pay for? Which is kind of, I mean, it's obviously a joke, and it's funny because I see on the on the group I'm actually surprised at the amount of posts and or concern, I should say, of like the people kind of worried about their finances in the hobby, and it's like, and don't get me wrong, I'm not a collector, and I mean, actually working on the cards has kind of gotten me into collecting a little bit, but I'm clearly not as diehard as a lot of our audience, so to speak. So I mean, it's a little, I mean, when you see somebody sitting there talking about, hey, it's okay to not, have to buy cards, when everybody's laid off, kind of a thing. And it's like, I mean, for me anyways, it's one of those things where it's like, I didn't know that this was an issue, you know?
I know that the collectors out there, when they buy the premieres and the masterpieces, that costs a lot, that those things aren't cheap. So appreciate them talking that out. But I thought too, when this whole madness started in the world, I was like, well, that's it, we're done. I'm not gonna get any commissions, there's not gonna be any Comic-Cons, it's gonna be slow. I can work on my backlog, getting stuff ready for maybe next year or something like that. But I've been surprised that it hasn't really been that way, and that there's been a lot of people, and I've been doing a lot of commissions during this time. So, I'm glad that there are people that are working, and they still, whether it's pent up demand because there are no Comic-Cons and they're just doing more commissions, I don't know, but
right.
Seeing that, some people still are employed and stuff, but I certainly feel for all of those that are unemployed. And then especially if they're collectors, if stuff's coming out and other collectors are getting the chance to grab it and you can't because of, what's going on in the world, that's got to be frustrating too.
Yeah, it looks like Brian's got a handful, because apparently Scarlett is a bit of a spender.
Entire allowance every time.
Every time. No, and that's, but that speaks precisely to my point. From the the artist as an artist that does commissions for people and stuff, I feel I sometimes feel guilty when I turn around and try and pimp stuff, because it's like I know that people are in a hard time and so on and so forth. So I mean, it's especially when you go to the group, you've got post after post after post saying things are tight, this, that, and the other. You don't want to follow up that post with, hey, I've got X amount of APs. Anybody to buy a commission?
Yep.
Do you really want to be that guy?
Yeah. No, I struggle with that too, because,
I mean, don't get me wrong.
I do have some APs, but I'm like, do you really want to be all the time?
Still got to pay a mortgage, But on the flip side, so you just, I don't know. I mean, and I think that the community itself, they're pretty legit guys, and so I tend to not try and gouge the card community. Know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. And it looks like Michael's done.
Michael's done, but he hasn't figured out what he's going to do next.
I know. Well, because I really need to work on this other thing, but I can't do that in front of a camera. So.
Oh, well, then, like I said, Venomized Squirrel Girl.
Yeah.
Amanda will pick that up and send it to Jonathan Dunn.
We've been at this for a while, so if you guys want to cut it,
what time is it? Oh wow, that was fast. Hour 25 minutes. That flew by.
Yeah, that's time flies when you're having fun.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm not done yet, so I'm good.
I'm nowhere near done. Amanda's been quietly watching. Says you've got scotch to buy.
No, I'm good.
You good for scotch?
Oh yeah, I got the bottle right here. Plus a 6-pack of beer. America.
Yeah, I was working on a while back. I started this American Dream card.
Oh yeah. Didn't you just finish that?
No.
Oh.
I spent 45 minutes putting in layers in the shield. So I spent 45 minutes getting the shield, and then
wow, look at that though.
So I still have to do. I did the arm, the shield. So I still need to do the upper body and her hair, and then figure out something for the background. At first, I was like, "Oh, this would be a great card to finish for the 4th of July. I could probably pimp that out on one of the sketch groups." Yeah, not done. Next year.
So when you do metal, you got any secrets for that?
Ooh.
Do it till it's right.
That's great advice. Thanks. I will remember that.
That's it. I'm really liking doing metal, but I don't have fixed technique yet. And I work in acrylics, so if it doesn't look right, I'll just paint over it.
Yeah.
So just do it till it looks right. I need to do, when I have some time, I need to do some metal studies. Like just take some pictures of rims and exhausts and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of just reproduce those, or just Google them to get, because there is a science to reflections.
Yeah.
To getting them right. And even looking at the shield there, yeah, it looks good, but it doesn't really have that concave form.
Okay. Look damn good. You know, buddy.
No, it looks good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to go back and change it, but it doesn't look like it's curved outwards like this.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I think part of it is because this highlight here should actually have been curved.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
That's got a circular shape. That's got a circular shape, and this hard edge here should have actually maybe been curved to give that sense of depth. So, but I think I figured out how to do banding, like Colossus or Cable and stuff like that. I have a pretty, based on the set that I'm just about to finish, I did a lot of banding, and I think I figured out a good way to do it.
Okay.
And it's just literally rendering cylinders, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So just a bunch of cylinders and keep the light source the same. Cylinders are easy though. It's when you get into spheres where it gets tricky.
Was that, Mike, was that like a specific question in terms of, hey, how should I do metal?
I'm always interested in how I should do metal because I still don't. Every time I got a technique figured out, then I change it.
All right, because like when because Andre said that there's a science to the reflection, and I my response to that is there's an art to faking it. And in the sense that and this is something that I found, this is just, I mean, just experimenting. I'm no expert by any means, but I found in playing with complementary colors, especially with metal, is huge for the reflections.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, you were saying what happened here
so,
when you did the Silver Surfer.
Right. So as an example, if you're using, like, for instance, if you take Iron Man as an example, you take the yellow that's in his armor. If you use a purple, for that reflection, that weird line or whatever that you do, and you go with purple and green sets it off.
Okay.
And that kind of gives that allure, and like Andre, what you were talking about with the shield and trying to get that the convex look to it. Maybe take what is it, red? It's a red. So if you go with like a green line and draw that line with a curve.
Green.
With green, because it's a complementary color to the red.
Yeah. Huh.
You know what I mean?
I hear you, but I don't know if I trust you on the green or not.
Try it. You're not gonna go Christmas green. You're not made like stuff.
like a turquoise green or something, or like even a little more green. Believe it or not, I mean, if the harder you go into a hue on things like that, the better. I mean, it doesn't instinctively, it doesn't sound right or feel right, but when you put it out there, it's like what was it, Brian actually mentioned earlier that Ren is the fastest sketch drawer that he's seen. I was talking to Ren. He was doing a live stream where he was doing Man at Arms, and he was doing like the the metal surface of his helmet, and all of his armor and stuff. And I, in the comments, I had posted, dude, he's like, man, I gotta, try and I want to get something, the metal doesn't look good here. And I was like, throw a little purple in there, dude. Just throw some purple streaks in it. You're going to be good. And he put it down, and he goes, I don't know if I'm really liking this, but it looked freaking fantastic.
Huh. All right.
Yeah, I mean, it's totally, goes against instinct. But you give it a shot. You're not gonna like it when you first see it. Put it away, and then come back to it, and then you're gonna be like, you know what? This doesn't suck.
like beer. Yeah.
So like just here to reinforce my point, I'll show you guys something here. So I've got green, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is that whole complementary color thing. So I actually use green for shadows for flesh tones.
Yeah, I know that works.
Huh. Because I'll use very light purple or so for flesh tones to try to give them a little bit more depth and a little bit more shadow.
Yeah, you use green for white people, but purple and blue is great for black characters.
Well, it's going to impact the temperature of the shadow. We're using a cool or warm.
Yeah.
And if you look at like Renaissance paintings, it's one of the two, depending on whether they're inside or outside, like even from the masters. Then if you ever look up the way, there's people that do these hyper realistic pastel renders. I've seen them on YouTube and Instagram and whatever. They do the entire not painting, whatever you call it, in pastels for skin, usually in green. And then they build the beiges and the reds and pinks on top of that. Looks beautiful.
Yeah, and this, I mean, I'm clearly no expert on pretty much anything. I am the forte of nothing. But the like a lot of my friends have been, classically trained, and when they start talking color theory to me, it's sometimes my eyes glaze over. But every now and then I'll pay attention to what they're talking about, and it starts to make sense. And I mean that's just like the small bit of information that I've actually picked up, when I'm paying attention to what they were saying. Actually, probably the biggest guy, just going back to that same, Pittsburgh Comic-Con, having a conversation with Chris Marino and Stuart Sager on color theory, my head exploded. and I go, really? And of course, but now I'm standing next to Sean Forney, and he turns around and says, "Yeah, dude, I've been telling you this for years.
You just don't listen to me."
Yeah, no, exactly. I get so much grief from artist friends, for simply not listening to them. Yeah, and we've all got that artist friend that turns around and says, "You know what you should do?"
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
And the moment you hear the phrase, "You know what you should do," you automatically stop listening.
Yep.
Because there's the whole connotation of, "You know what you should do," really means, you suck. And,
you're doing this wrong.
Better.
If I was doing it, it would have been so much different and would have looked this way.
Yeah, it would have been so much better if you did it the way that I think you should.
Yeah.
And that sometimes immediately hits the off switch. Where you just, it's like I just hit the mute button at that point.
Nope, I understand that.
And it's not an ego thing. It's not an ego thing on my part. It's more an ego thing on their part.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, we all have art
where you
friends
turn
like
around
that.
and
You
say,
don't know that.
yeah, dude, you know what? One of us needs to get over themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not me. Uh, I do find it funny though, and we've all got friends that are artists and stuff, and I think that the ego of an artist is absolutely mind blowing. You know, when somebody sits there and says, you know, they just start talking smack,
Mhm.
you know, and you go, Andre, your screen's all jacked up again.
Oh, come on.
Oh no, he's back.
Oh, he's back. Okay. Isn't it funny where, like, you know, somebody could possibly have this ridiculous ego, and when you look at the grand scheme of things, you turn around and say, dude, you're not curing cancer. You're fucking drawing cartoons, you know?
That is so true. It is, that, how many times that's gone through my head when you get a table at a con and you don't know the guy to the left of you, and then you get to learn all about him for the next 2 days, and you're just like, oh my goodness, I can't.
Yeah, and sometimes it's like the more you know, the more you want to just choke them out.
Yep. And then they always assume that you know nothing, you haven't had any training, didn't take any courses, you've just been winging it, and they're gonna tell you about some stuff.
Yeah, and it's always some 20-something-year-old kid, and it's like,
yeah,
bro, I was drawing when cartoons were on Saturdays only. All right, so one of us needs to settle down.
Yeah.
Brian says the next draw is ego.
Ooh.
Whose ego? Is that the planet thing?
Yeah.
Planet.
I think Munshaw might have us on that since he's
Or we could just do a picture of Kurt Russell.
Yeah, so Kurt Russell.
But if I'm doing Kurt Russell, it's from Big Trouble in Little China. It's Jack.
No, that you can't do that. This is the Marvel card collectors area.
It's got to be Marvel.
Maybe you put Ego the Planet in that T-shirt.
Or you draw him from Little China and you put an Ego T-shirt on him.
Oh.
Either way.
There you go. That could work.
What was that? In that movie, that little floating ball thing with all the eyeballs.
Pork Chop Express.
Yeah.
Pork chop.
Yeah, put the planet in the cab.
Well, all right, gentlemen. It's been 2 hours. I'm moving on.
You're done?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure hanging out with you guys today.
Oh, this was awesome. I'm glad it worked out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's nice that it was Andre that was having issues today.
Yep. Oh, yeah. No, I got the new setup. I really like it. And obviously, it holds steady. I only lost contact there once during a 2-hour period. So it worked out much, much better. So I'm very happy.
So I'll tell you, I figure out what's happening with my phone. Every time I get a text message in, it screws up the video.
Really? Because, you know, I'm not using a phone at all on this one, you know, where I was trying to use my phone the first time.
Yeah.
So I'm free of the phone. So maybe, you know, I'm sure it was the phone trying to get into the network and all of that was giving me problems.
All right. Well, Michael, thanks so much for joining.
All right, guys.
Making this happen.
And everybody.
You want to do a shout out for all your channels and where people can find you to buy your stuff?
First of all, thank you to everybody that was hanging out with us today. I appreciate that. And then thank you to everybody. Oh, go ahead, Jay. What?
I said all of you voters.
All you vote. Well, I was going to get to the people that voted that aren't here, and you better be watching this streaming later on. And if you're not, then we're not going to count your votes anymore. But anyway, if you can find me on Facebook under Michael Munshaw, or I also have an art page at Art of M2. And then on Instagram, Art of M2 is my handle over there. I also have a webpage, which shocker is www.artofm2.com. So check out that stuff. If you guys want a commission, obviously reach out. I'll be happy to do something for you guys. And thank you, everyone.
Awesome.
Hey,
All right. Guys, everyone have a good 4th of July weekend.
You too.
all right, brother.
He's got.
That guy is so funny, dude.
He's awesome. Brian says that he voted. Yes, we know.
Yeah, I know.
Fat Thor.
For Fat Thor. you didn't win. No, we were specifically talking about all the folks that voted for a Venomized X-Man, and
not one is there to be seen here.
as far as I know, nobody showed up. Because
after this, I'm gonna personally DM every single one of them and ask them, "Are you okay? Everything okay? I'm concerned you didn't show up on the stream."
Go for the live screen. I don't know.
Yeah. How are you on time?
Me on time, dude?
Yeah.
I got all day.
Okay.
And I mean, it's a holiday. Nobody's doing anything. I know that Mike just had to bail because he had other stuff.
Yeah, stuff to do. Yeah, that's fine.
Otherwise he'd probably hang out. He's working on a set, right?
Yeah.
He's working on a set. So which is clearly why he can't be streaming stuff. That might go against all the rules.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
No. I won't show it. I'm just gonna live stream the whole thing from start to finish.
Yeah, just live stream your entire gig and see how long you actually last as a contractor for Upper Deck.
Yeah.
Did you happen to catch the podcast yesterday?
Yes, with I can't remember his name.
Yeah,
President.
Mr. President.
El Presidente. Yeah, that was really interesting.
Yeah,
it's really cool to see some of these guys that are behind the scenes in the industry that are just hardcore nerds.
Yeah. I was actually surprised, to be honest. I was surprised to find out that the president, / CEO or whatever of Upper Deck is a collector himself.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can see where, like, when they did their interview with Upper Deck Matt.
Yeah, but he's in the entertainment side.
Yeah, but he started out. I think didn't he say he started out in the hockey side as well?
Yeah, or NFL.
Yeah, and so he but the fact that he was a collector himself and then got into the gig, but I don't know. I mean, you just don't think of the president of because not that Upper Deck's like, Microsoft by any means, but it's Upper Deck's still a pretty big, beast of a company.
Yeah, they do all right.
So, but the fact that the guy that's running the show is also a nerd is or not a nerd, because that would be Microsoft. I meant geek.
Geek, yeah.
Is that's pretty interesting,
Yeah, and it was a great interview, some nice insight about how they put together the second Jusco masterpieces.
Yeah.
For like 5 years in the making.
Yeah, well, I mean, freaking Jusco, man. I don't even know what to say. I mean, like,
it's just
I said before that guy is straight up one of my favorite people in the world. But yeah, it was a good interview. It was definitely one that one of their shows that you just didn't want to end.
Yeah.
because it was like, okay, and again, not being, a super nerd for the card collecting. It's especially for us. I've said this before, I mean, as a sketch card artist, um, we're definitely kept in the dark on things, like,
Well, you don't get a weekly memo from
yeah,
the publisher?
exactly. We're not in the loop. And it's so funny when you get, like, a collector that's like, hey man, when's the set coming out? Dude,
How am I supposed to know?
yeah, I mean, it's like, dude, they keep me in the dark and feed me poop, you know. Um, that, I mean, we're just not in the know on that stuff. And what was neat was a lot of the stuff, I think, from my perspective, anyways, a lot of the stuff that I personally, like, assumed, of some of the stuff that was, that kind of, how things work, you
Yeah.
know, at Upper Deck, was reinforced by a lot of the stuff that he said. Like when he was talking about, like, for instance, and I've had the conversation with the guys before, even on the podcast, when is Premiere going to drop on EPAX? And I'm like, I
Now.
mean, and it's like, dude, you got me. I don't have the answer, but the only thing I can speculate is, you know, it's all based on scheduling. I mean, when we talked about, like, release dates and things like that, and my assumption was, you really, it's hard to, get these guys to nail down a release date, because you never know what's going to happen. Maybe the base card art is, late. I mean, yeah, you give them a deadline, but I mean, anybody
It
who's
still happens, yeah.
ever worked with an artist, that whatever deadline you set is going to be moved back, because, you know it's fair to say that artists are lazy, and they just don't get stuff done on time. So,
Lazy is not necessarily the right word there, but I know what you
but
mean.
you know what I'm talking about. I mean, and I'm not talking about every artist.
But
I
no, but it's hard to predict how long something's gonna take, right?
Right, right.
Like at the beginning of this stream, if you told me how far along do you think you'll be in the painting at 2 hours and 10 minutes, I'd say like almost done. I'm nowhere near done.
Oh yeah, no, but that's the thing, is that, I mean, as an example, using this stream as an example, I had absolutely zero. I came into it really honestly thinking that, yeah, I'm probably not going to get done by the time we turn this thing off. But I was like, what else am I going to do today? You know, at the moment. So,
Yeah.
and to be honest, it's more of a powwow than anything else. Um, but my point being is that you always have, or what I'm saying is that artists tend to be somewhat flaky.
Yeah.
Okay. And that is not necessarily, I sincerely doubt that is the case with the professionals that they hire to do, like, say, the base cards, but you never know what happens, right?
Yeah, computers crash, people
Yeah,
get sick,
a virus comes in, and then all of a sudden you have to, you know,
stop
visit
everything.
family in the hospital or something. I mean,
Yeah.
anything could happen, right? But where you get the real flakiness, I think, is from the sketch card side of things. And it's funny because you would have, like, as the president of Upper Deck was talking about, is like, okay, well, you've got the base card art, and then you've got all the inserts, and then you've got the, this, that, and the other, and then you've got the sketch card artists, right? The sketch cards, which are like, that's a completely different disaster to have to, I mean, it's got to be like herding cats for these guys,
Yeah.
because a lot of these guys, they may be like, they may be working on a comic book, they may be doing whatever, and yeah, they'll turn on, they'll take the gig, and
Yeah, but it's going to be a low priority for them.
exactly. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I personally, I tend to approach it a little differently than most people. I mean, I'll be honest with you, and this isn't, me trying to, suck up to anybody, but I get a gig like a card set from Upper Deck, and it automatically goes to the front of the line. But I'm also not working on, I'm not working on, I'm not penciling the next Spider-Man comic either. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so you have the flexibility to move it.
Exactly. So, and to be honest, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I find it. I think that the community is, it's a special community in the sense that I mean, these are genuinely nice people, that
Yeah, most of them, anyway.
that I've met through yeah, and even some of the, um for lack of a better word, some of the D-bags that are collectors are actually, decent human beings, in the sense that, hey, this is just how it is, and cool, you know. Um I don't know. I just, I have personally, I feel like I have a bit of a connection with the sketch card community, and I mean, in all fairness, I mean, who'd have thunk, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look at what you do for a living. Would you ever think that you'd be, on a basically a daily basis interacting with a trading card collector on in instant messaging?
Well, if that high school teacher would have let me do my giant Rosetta inspired masterpiece, maybe I would have been.
Yeah, maybe you would have thought of that, but
Yeah. Hey, listen, my career path was going to be classical animation. That's what I wanted to do all throughout high school until I started doing it. And I said, I do not have the attention span for this.
so wait,
Spent 6 hours doing a head spin cycle. I did a co-op term at the Toronto studio. So for 4 months, every other day I went and, they taught me the mechanics, the machines, how to set up the filming, everything like that, and gave me assignments, like animation assignments. I was like, I do not have the attention span for this.
wow, you know what? It's funny that that's dude, that was, as a kid, that was my dream. I wanted to be an animator.
Yeah, it wasn't until I actually got to do it that I said, you know what? Uh-uh.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, when you see the end product, you go, oh yeah, I totally want to do that. And then, when you think about, you got to draw how many pictures?
12 per second at the very
That's
least.
because I think what regular film runs 30.
24 frames per second
Ooh,
is standard.
okay, so that's even slower than I thought it used to be 30, but I think you're right. They brought it, yeah, so and then they split it in half for animation.
Yeah, especially TV and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then sometimes you'll do drop frames to speed up the process, or add the occasional frames where you have a high. Um,
lot of squash and stretch.
yeah. So the timing of it. I mean, there's talking about the science of the timing in animation. Like there's guys on on a classical animation rig that all they do is they time. They're not actually drawing anything. They're just doing knots on the timeline, right? And they're artists as well. And then you get the guys that do colors, and guys that do inks, and the guys that do backs, and the guys that do rotoscoping. There's just so much work behind it. And then, so.
Well, and that's the thing, is that when you get in the timing thing or whatever, it's like, I don't want to do math.
Yeah. And when you're studying it, right, you got to do all the, like, you have to have an understanding of all of these aspects of the workflow.
Right.
If you get a job in it, at the end of the day, you're probably only going to do one part. I mean, the entry-level job in animation is an in-betweener, where you just do the in-between frames for key motions.
Right.
And that's, commonly known as monkey work. But that's where you start, and that's where you build up the speed.
In all fairness, we're we're speaking the speak. But there's some of the viewers may not understand what the difference is between in-betweening and keyframing. Okay.
You want to explain it?
Yeah. So, like, for instance, you'll have, like, back in the day, as an example, if you look at a Bugs Bunny cartoon, and you would say, like, say Chuck Jones, who is directing a cartoon, he would specifically do the keyframes, which are basically it's like a point, in the animation. These are the key points. So it's like, okay, here's Bugs Bunny standing in this pose. Now I want him to go to this, where he's running. Now I want him to stick his finger in Elmer Fudd's, barrel. Whatever the case may be. Those would be, like, say, the keyframes, whereas it's almost like a rendered down, even more specific storyboard to what the storyboard itself was, right? And then the in-betweener would come in and draw all the frames in between each one of those key frames. Okay, so he would actually make Bugs Bunny go from this pose into a running cycle. Then he would turn around and get from that running cycle to where he stops, and then sticks his finger in Elmer Fudd's barrel. And that's a pretty layman's explanation, but that's pretty much what it is.
Pretty much it.
But no, I'm super interested in your background in animation, because that's something that I've always wanted to do.
Well, my 4 months of co-op training.
Right.
That was it. I did some courses and stuff like that. Like, I went to, when I was still in high school, I did night courses at the Sheridan College in just outside of Toronto. It was one of the biggest animation programs in the world.
Okay.
So that was my goal. I'm going to go to Sheridan, finish high school, go to Sheridan College, do my 3 years in animation, get hired by Disney, and make the next Toy Story.
Right.
That was the path. Then, did the co-op there. I'm like, oh, that's not really for me. Did a couple of courses. I did 1 semester of classical animation fundamentals. It's very interesting. But again, we did, for the first 3 weeks, we worked on a flour bag jumping around to get that stretch and squash. That was it. And it's like, I don't have the attention span for it. So I walked away from it and went into digital. So I did a program called Digital Media Arts, which covered video editing, audio, fundamentals of web design, a lot of Photoshop, Illustrator, desktop publishing. And I was a graphic designer for a bit. And then that was right when the interweb actually became a thing. So early 2000s. So then I kind of started dabbling in web, learned how to code, do some database stuff. And yeah, so start off as a graphic designer, and now I am a digital marketing consultant. So I don't do as much creative, but I do a lot of strategy and analytical stuff. for various brands around the world, for lack of better words.
Yeah, I can honestly say that I took a completely different path, so to speak. In I mean, I like hearing about, like, how people got to where they're at and what they're doing and stuff, because it's like, it's so foreign to me. Like, for instance, you said, I I went to college to do animation, you know,
Right.
and I mean, it's like, and not to date myself, but when in back in my day, so to speak, there was only one way to get into animation, and it was literally go submit a portfolio to Disney, so to speak, and move to LA or Orlando and work as an intern somewhere. And
Right.
that's how you learned the gig and how to do things. Well, being a kid from the Midwest in the US, because there's who knows who's watching or listening or whatever, but that's not really much of an option. You don't live anywhere near Orlando or LA.
Right.
So and of course, I mean, my background was, literally drawing the Herculoids while I was watching them on Saturday morning cartoons. I mean, it was like anything Alex Toth was up for grabs, just watching Super Friends and Thunder the Barbarian, um and that was, and just kind of self-taught artist. I want to do Saturday morning cartoons. Well, get finished with high school and stuff, and you kind of see that your options are more or less limited. So instead, I think I'll join the military. So did my stint in the
How many? You did what? 3 years? I think you're
I did
telling me
4 years.
4 years. All right.
Yeah. So with quote, basically it's 4 years, but like it's an 8-year contract. So there's like 4 years of being in the reserves, um, inactive reserves. So you didn't have to do like the
You don't go in every couple of weeks or a couple of months.
you didn't do that. I mean, it was like you already had 4 years active duty. It's like, but they have the option of like recalling you, at that point, even though that you could be out like 3 years or whatever, and then you can turn around and recall you to duty,
Mm-hmm.
to active duty.
Yeah.
But I mean, that obviously wasn't the case, and back then at that time. So because we pretty much had everything handled. So anyways, so like, but what was funny was, when I was in the military, I was I got back. That's when I got back into comics. Because you know how it is. You go through your teenage years, and you kind of lose interest in all um your kid dreams, and you're more worried about, you're more interested in girls and different things.
Yeah.
So like this whole drawing thing is like, well, that's awfully nerdy. I'm gonna do something cool and try and pick up chicks. Um, so I got back into like comics when I was in the military, and it was like that was in the early 90s. So there was the big boom of independent comics.
Yeah, that's the Image days, right?
This was just before Image. So this was like like I specifically remember seeing, like, I think the first time I had been in a comic shop ever, because back in my day it was like you got your comics on the spinner rack in the corner convenience store, right?
Yeah,
So
the
like
7-Eleven.
so I've never been to like a comic shop per se. So like here I am, I'm in San Diego. I walk into this comic shop, and I distinctly remember seeing issue number 1 of She by Billy Tucci.
Yep.
And I was like, and I picked the thing up off the off the little rack and flipped through it, and you know and Billy's a friend of mine, so I always like to tease him about the fact that he's the reason that I'm in the industry, because I looked at the first book and thought to myself, you know what? I can draw cartoons. I can do this. And I can do this better than him. Which is clearly, me, not understanding what the whole deal was. But that was my mind as a,
I can do this.
that was in my early 20s. That was kind of my thought was, well, I can do this. I mean, this is easy peasy, and
I think I have that issue here.
that's without even knowing what the heck was involved, but I do like to I like to blame Billy for basically being the guy who got me into the industry, and that was before even meeting him.
So then what did you do? You just started.
So I started. So like while I was in the military, I started working on my book, The Adventures of Mighty Moose.
Okay.
Which was I mean the character is and I know this isn't Marvel, but
It's fine.
the
2.5 hours in, I doubt too many people are still watching.
I mean, nobody's watching at this point. So I did the like when I was a kid, I used to really like the cartoon Rocky and Bullwinkle show.
Yep.
And I tried to one weekend. It was like, my folks were divorced, so it was with my dad this weekend, and
Hey, Brian's still watching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As
Thanks,
as
Brian.
as well as Scarlett. What's up, Scarlett? He so he had us for the weekend, and we were at his friend's cottage. It was on a lake. It was a beautiful setup.
Scarlett fell asleep.
And I was sitting at sitting on the pontoon boat, drawing, and I tried to draw Bullwinkle the moose, but this is on an island in the middle of a lake, no electricity, no nothing, no TV. So I tried to draw Bullwinkle from memory.
Oh yeah.
Now I'm 8 years old, so obviously the hand-eye coordination and memory is not incredibly great at that age.
Not quite there.
So I did this drawing, and it looked absolutely nothing like Bullwinkle, obviously. And so I kind of got like I kind of had like a little temper tantrum over it, and said, well, screw it, it's not Bullwinkle, so I'm gonna put a cape and a mask on him, and whatever, and turn him into the superhero. And that was like the birth of Mighty Moose.
So you've had this thing in the back of your mind since you were 8 years old?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's
yeah,
impressive.
I mean, obviously the look has changed drastically.
Yeah, but the concept.
Oh yeah, no, Mighty Moose was let's see. Mighty Moose was created in 1980. So here I am, fast forward to 92 or whatever, and 92, 93. And here I am going, well, I can beat Billy Tucci. I'll just do Mighty Moose. So there was like a full redesign and all that other stuff. And yeah, I mean, it was just, and then I went from there, But, again, that goes back to the, the timing where, like I said, I wanted to be an animator. Couldn't do that. Wasn't entirely sure if I wanted to make a career out of the military. And but still wanted to do cartooning. Well, if you can't do animation, if you can't do cartoons, if you can't do animated movies, animated TV shows, next best thing is comic books.
Yeah.
So that's where we are.
Cool. That's
And
a lot more exciting than my stuff.
Now I'm drawing trading cards.
Sorry?
And I said now I'm drawing trading cards.
Which is small cartoons.
Yeah, really, really small cartoons.
Okay. I need to start wrapping it up because I'm not on a holiday. And I still do some work here.
You guys don't have like a 2-day window or something for?
Well, no, we had Wednesday off, which is weird because then I came back and as I was talking to Michael before you hopped on. So like I came in yesterday and I'm trying to hop on conference calls that I've scheduled on Monday because it feels like I came back from a week in the middle of the week and it just total mess. So I'm not a fan of the midweek.
The midweek holiday.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's and that's the thing is that, for us, we're actually kind of got spoiled this year in the sense that the 4th is on Saturday. So we get kind of the it's the observance is on Friday, so everybody's off on Friday.
Yeah.
And then, so you get the long weekend.
Yeah, because I think it was last year you guys had it in the middle of the week.
Yeah, it was like, and it you're right. It totally screws things up. I mean, for the most part, for the US anyways, generally if you get the holiday midweek, like especially like on the 4th, it's almost like you're right off the week,
Yeah.
So, nothing ever really gets done. But this year it's like, okay, everybody you work until Thursday. And then I think it's for the most part, I think it's, it'll end up being for a lot of people anyways, with real jobs and stuff, it'll be like a 4-day weekend.
So. Right. Which there's nothing wrong with that.
No, except for the fact that, because of the Rona, it's not like you get to go camping necessarily or go to fireworks or anything like that. What do you guys do? What do you guys do for Canada Day?
It's the same type of thing. Fireworks, people go camp. Well, obviously the Rona, but it's the same idea.
Okay, because I mean, it's just to clarify for some of our American listeners or non-Canadian listeners, Canada Day is virtually, it's not Independence Day. What is it? It's a
day to celebrate the founding of Canada, or
Yeah, it's the Confederation
Yeah, I
of
don't know.
Canada.
Yeah, because last year was the 150th anniversary of the country being made, or I don't know what the proper term is, of
It
the
was,
actual establishing of the country.
yeah,
So Canada is celebrating.
yeah,
I mean,
Canada,
similar to us, in a sense, similar to Independence Day, where you're celebrating really the birth of the country.
right, right.
I don't think the Canadian Canada Day is necessarily as bloody and eventful as the U.S. Independence Day is
Well,
historically.
in all
And I'm
fairness,
horrible in history, so
in all fairness, ours wasn't incredibly bloody on the fourth. Um, like
while
for
leading up to it.
basically the what Canada Day is, in relation to Independence Day in the U.S. Canada Day is, I think, that marks the basically the signing of the Constitution of Canada.
Yeah, it's the day it became official.
Right. Whereas ours was basically, it was a declaration to England saying, "Yeah, bro, we're out of here."
Yeah.
So, and that was prior to any of the bloodshed. So, I mean,
Oh, okay. So the fourth is when it was announced before
yeah,
it actually.
the fourth of July 4th is basically when they signed the Declaration of Independence. So it was basically when
Right.
everybody turned around and sent the letter to King George saying, "Yeah, bro,
I,
we're out." That's what July 4th is. As far as now, that was the Declaration of Independence, and then obviously the Revolutionary War followed uh, after that, because King George was apparently not happy with the fact that we turned around and said, "Yeah, I don't think we want to pay your taxes anymore. So we're just going to do
so,
our own thing."
so I will leave you with this little tidbit because in high school I did this trip to Colonial Williamsburg and Washington and everything else. And in Colonial Williamsburg, we did the tour, and they're talking about how Independence Day and people didn't want to pay the taxes anymore. And the tour guide said, "Can you imagine paying, what was it, 11% tax
Yeah,
or something?"
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
At which point we said, "Yeah, we're from Canada. We pay 15% tax on everything."
Right, right, right.
So
Imagine, yeah, yeah.
not a big deal. I'll kill for the 11% tax.
Yeah, and like it's yeah, and even here in the U.S., when you think about it, just from I it I don't want to I don't want to get political in any way, shape, or form, but I mean, if you think about it, you're looking at, average tax, income tax, it's like 25%.
Yeah, and that, I mean, I think that's pretty
Now,
standard in
you're
all of.
talking about like sales tax.
Yeah.
That's
So if I go buy a can of Coke,
mhm,
right, at the store, it's $1 plus tax, so it's $1.15.
right.
Right?
So,
Go buy a TV, it's $4.99 plus tax, or whatever it is.
and well, and that's man, and I don't know what the exchange rate is right now,
Not
but
good.
I remember, as a kid, because growing up in Detroit, which is,
Close to
again,
Windsor.
a northwest suburb of Canada.
Right.
um it was funny because how many Canadian nickels or Canadian quarters, and because I mean they're all the same size as our
Oh, yeah.
current, and it always got snuck in to stuff, and like you'd turn around and there'd be like some stores where you'd like a convenience store, like a corner store or whatever, you could pass like a Canadian quarter, and like in some, like it would be worth 25 cents US, in some places, but in other places, like, no, we're not taking that.
They won't take it. Yeah.
I mean, it's like, for instance, you can go to the local 7-Eleven and you could pass off a Canadian quarter as 25 cents and it would be good to go. I mean, it's good to go there, but it would not be worth 25 cents in a bank. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's not. I mean, obviously the exchange. I mean, there was a time where Canadian dollar was almost half the U.S. dollar.
Yeah,
Right,
this was
where it made
about that,
absolute
like
and
the
80s, early 90s. Like Americans would come up to Canada all the time because things would be comparable. You go buy, a pair of Nikes is $79 in the States. Come to Canada, it's $89 Canadian. But once you do the exchange rate, ends up being like $45 US.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, personally, I think, I'm of the opinion that our neighbors up north are pretty much we're the same people, man. I don't even know why we're separated for the most part.
Healthcare.
I mean,
We get healthcare.
well, yeah. Well, so do we.
Do you pay for it?
Everybody pays for it. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just a walk up the street, right?
Yeah, no. I mean, but I think that culturally speaking,
Oh, culturally we're the same. It's the same stuff.
That's what I'm saying is that, I mean, it's not like I picked the wrong color. I should have gone with gray. Yeah, I like I said, we're the same. I mean, we came from the same place. I mean, we're all, if you go back to back to the origins, we're all English,
Yeah.
so,
I mean,
but which is why I find it like interesting that, Canada Day is on the 1st and Independence Day is on the 4th. I mean, so that's literally a great metaphor for just how close we are culturally.
yeah, but I think some of these holidays are also conveniently placed together. Like, what's your holiday at the end of May? Like around the May 20th, you have a long weekend. Memorial Day?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so we have Victoria Day, which is the third Friday of, no, May 20th. And that is I believe, Queen Victoria the Second's birthday.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's one of those holidays that just got put in place to line up with the U.S. In order to coordinate commerce and business, because so much business relies on the States that, if everyone in the States is off on Monday, most of the commerce and the trade industry in Canada, and you might as well be off because they got nobody to talk to.
Right.
Like when I do work with agencies, a lot of the agencies work out of the U.S., so you got to work around their schedule. So they're on a long weekend, I'm on a long weekend, right?
Yeah. You know what's funny is that, and this is actually kind of, boy, are we getting away from cards. What's funny is that dealing with like China, when they deal with when they've got like their Chinese New Year.
Oh yeah, same thing.
That just shuts down the world economy.
Yeah, that's Chinese New Year. Everyone's up. All right, brother.
Yeah,
I gotta wrap it up. This is as far as I got. I really need to get a better lighting situation here because it's a lot darker. It looks a lot darker than it is. You bring yours up to.
Oh yeah. So I'm gonna continue this, because why not?
Yeah, I'm gonna work on it later, but I just can't do it on the stream. I
Yeah,
might actually.
I'll finish this off and then like end up posting it on the
on the group
comments or whatever. So
I might actually work on this on Sunday when I'm chatting with
ooh,
Gordon, but we'll see. I have tons of stuff to do.
yeah. If when on Sunday, if I'm up, um, yeah, I'll definitely check in on that. Maybe even if it's not an issue, maybe even pop in and hang out with you guys for a bit.
Yeah, man, we'll chat. I gotta get the links and everything ready. But
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, if you guys are up for it or whatever, I'd love to kind of hang out with you guys. So just
cool. Yeah, if you're up. If it's,
oh wait, this Sunday morning, right?
yeah, you need to be. It'll be 9 a.m. your time
No,
that we're going live.
actually, I just remembered. I actually have something that I gotta do Sunday morning. I'm going to be up,
Yeah,
but
no worries. Man.
I'm not going to be around, so I'll have to. Damn, it kind of bums me out. I'll have to catch it later. I
Yeah,
won't,
no worries.
I won't even be around.
No problem.
All right.
But yeah, we'll do this again soon.
Yeah.
Sid,
I do want to thank you for setting these things up, and I mean, it's not I mean, nobody's actually, mentioned this, but I mean, the fact that you went out of your way to set up this whole StreamYard thing and invite other guys in, I, I appreciate that. I mean, that's
my pleasure.
awfully cool of you to, go that extra mile, so to speak,
Oh, no. Said my pleasure. And for anyone that is still watching, there's more people lined up to come in. So working out schedules with more people, and fingers crossed, you'll get excited about this too. If everything pans out at the end of the month, I might have like a demigod of a sketch card artist hopping on.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but I don't want to
You don't,
name drop
you
until it gets.
yeah, you don't want to tease it too much.
No, I don't, because I don't want to jinx it. But either way, sooner or later, I'm
Nice.
sure it's a matter of scheduling, getting the schedule in time. But yeah, I'm
Good
really,
here first, folks.
yeah. Um, oh yeah, Jusco. Can you imagine? Brian says it's Jusco. No, yeah, if I could get
Sketch card art.
Jusco, yeah, a sketch card person, not um, that's what I said, demigod. Artist Ian Taylor. Yes, definitely need. You know what? We need to do that before I forget, because Norn said it too. We should do one where we have them on and they're drawing and we're drinking or
Mhm.
something like that. We need to figure that out. And I know there's been other people that said that aren't necessarily artists that would just want to hop on and try to draw stuff or.
Yeah, and in that group, like get Ian and Norin doing it, but definitely got to get Omega.
Yes, he's
Got
he's
got
up
to
for
set
it.
up
And Tommy.
Omega.
Look at everyone. Hey, anyone who's still watching, Brian, if you ever want to hop on and do something, I know Tommy's still on. Amanda, you're more than welcome to. Just drop me a
Love
message and figure
Amanda.
out some timing. And soon, hopefully before the end of summer, we're gonna put together a drink and draw where we're gonna get totally smashed and try to draw perfect circles for an hour and a half.
Yeah, unlike right now, I'm
Well, I can't speak for you for you, but I'm pretty sober.
I'm I'm pretty much half in the bag right now. So yeah, no, I mean, yeah, we got to do this more often. I actually, personally, I gotta get back to doing the um the free giveaway thing or whatever. Um, because I missed it. Sorry guys, I missed it this week. I was kind of inundated with another project.
Back door.
Yeah. So I mean, but like I'm done with it. I plan on doing it next week. I don't know if you want to do that next week, maybe. Again, not, just because I do and that's the thing, is that I don't like to turn around and say, hey, who wants to, get together and give away stuff on Wednesday? Because I mean, everybody else is like trying to make a living. But I mean, if you're down with that, I'll do another giveaway next Wednesday.
Yeah, let's. I gotta see what my schedule is for next week. I won't know till Monday morning.
Yeah.
If I'm around, I'm definitely up for doing stuff.
All right, cool.
Tommy says this is his last live straw from Lebanon, which means that next time he's gonna be in the States.
Welcome home, brother.
Safe travel. We don't speak earlier. And both Amanda and Brian are down for the drinking part of anything. I think we had them both that drink.
Yeah, you know what? I got a sneaking suspicion that Amanda will probably drink everybody under the table.
Awesome. And on that note, I'm out. Anything you want to pimp? More than usual?
Well, I mean, guys, if you haven't checked out my Facebook page, The Art of Lynn Warner, please do check me out on the Instagram, this, that, and the other. I don't have a whole lot of stuff going on right this second. I do have a couple sets that are in the works that are coming out, so be on the lookout for some card sets coming out from Upper Deck here. I think last count is that there are 3 that are in the works. Other than that, I mean, yeah, I'm always open for commissions, sketch covers, sketch cards, even just regular paintings or whatever, just whatever suits your fancy, I can do it. So that's about it. I mean, I don't know what else to say other than I'm an art prostitute.
All right. Well, yeah, so I think the conclusion is you're available to do a variety of projects, licensed or non-licensed.
Yep.
So if you want him, hit him up. Don't get to hit up Michael Munshaw at Art of M2 at Variety of Things. And I'm always around. That's about it. Bye, Scarlett.
Bye-bye, Scarlett.
I think she's sleeping. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.